What is up? How are you doing? I'm Jonathan Timber, and welcome to another episode of Timber Talk Time Podcast. It's episode 14, and today we're talking about grief. Uh, Personally, this time of year is always strange. I lost my father in 2016, and it's never gonna be the same. Never gonna be the same. It's just one of those things. But yeah, I wanted to touch on this and kind of was brought forth again. We just recently lost our eldest cat, Mr. Victor. This was actually his favorite spot to lay, so I felt it was fitting to do it in front of that. But I'm going to go over 5 things with grief. And, forgive me, it's been a lazy day for me. Got getting back in the swing of some shows, so I've been kind of in conservation mode, if you will. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Grief and mental health. Woo, woo, woo. Grief and mental health. That's a loaded thing. Yeah, I mean it can impact your anxiety. It can trigger depression, changes in appetite, everything. Just one thing I keep coming back to with grief is that grief is like depression and like terrible things, I guess you could say. Grief is like a little monster that's going to show up. And if you don't deal with it, it's going to get bigger. It's going to go away. And then it's going to be like, I'll be back. Okay. I'm grief and you're not going to deal with me now. But I'll be back. And it's going to come back. It's going to be a little bit bigger. And then grief is going to, if you keep pushing it away, it's like, okay, fine then. Okay. And it comes back. It's a little bit bigger. It just keeps getting bigger until it just crushes you. And then you got to deal with it because usually it's something seismic has happened in your life. Could be panic attack, whatever. Stress, anxiety attack. Grief shows up and he's like, you're not going to put me away this time. And so from a mental standpoint, I adhere anyone that's going through grief to sit with it and feel it and understand it and be in it. Because if you don't, it's going to come back stronger. And then you're going to wish you had dealt with it sooner. Because eventually you'll come to the conclusion that I just got to deal with it. And that's with most problems in life. Just deal with them when they come. Because if you don't, they're going to fester and you're going to deal with it later. You're going to wish you didn't spend so much time not dealing with it. Yeah, grief. Oof. Physical health, part 2. Grief in your health. Same thing. You lose sleep. You're tired. I'm exhausted, and I think it's because of grief. As I yawn again, I'm so sorry. I'm super yawny this episode. This is actually an episode I was trying to avoid. It's been a couple weeks. Thanksgiving, Christmas time. It's just and it came to my heart to do an episode on grief, and then I got to the bottom of that mountain and I looked up and I was like, man, there's some stuff I haven't dealt with in a while. I haven't thought about, because I just push through and busy myself. Um, but yeah, going back to the mental health part of it, help is your friend. My next endeavor with health, mental health, is therapy. It's the last thing that I haven't really dove into, and quite honestly, financially, I can't afford it. But there's means now, and I am going towards those steps. I know it's going to be great for me. I can't wait. It's just good. Everyone that I've ever met that's gone through it is like, yeah, therapy, do it. Um, so yeah, therapy is next on my horizon, so to say. But yeah, going back to grief and physical health, you you feel it. You're fatigued. You're losing sleep. Just overtakes you. Um, and it's just one of those things. It's hard, but you gotta address it, because if you don't, it's gonna keep stealing your sleep. It's gonna steal your happiness. It's gonna steal your joy, your serotonin. Just drains you. Um, and yeah, grief is handled differently in many cultures. Um, I'm Black and Hispanic, and therapy is a new thing on the horizon for. I never heard people, Black people, Spanish, Latino people speaking about therapy when I was younger. It was always a very white thing. And now I'm glad and grateful to hear it more. Um, I always heard white people talk about therapy, but it wasn't a thing that was always in Black culture. And now I'm happy to see that it's a big thing. Charlemagne the God, radio host, is a big advocate for therapy and the benefits of it. And so, yeah, personally, I'm taking that step, and I'm going to be going to therapy and fixing what's askew up here. Um, Grief in your spirituality. Find something that you believe in, and that could help you. Some people it's God, some people it's Buddha, whatever. I feel like there's a little bit of something in everything. It all just kind of comes back to love, personally, when I think of religion. But yeah, it won't hurt. Lean into it, because with it, there's also community that comes from that. You'll have other people to lean on to get help, to seek help, to find help for your health, your mental health, your physical health. Grief is so heavy. It's so heavy. It's just, I remember when my dad died, I was drinking, doing everything else. I wouldn't get out of bed for days. Only time I got out of bed was to go get toe up from the flow up and then pass back out. But I just didn't have a will to get up and do anything. Grief is, man, I wouldn't wish it upon anyone, to have to go through it. But it's one of those things we all have to go through. So, with that being said, like, lean on each other, Which brings me back, or brings me to my last thing, is grief in relationships. Um, it could impact your relationships negatively if you don't take care of it. But also it could strengthen your relationships because, for instance, my sisters and I, we all lost our father. So we were able to lean on each other and have conversations. My mother and I, she lost her husband. I lost my dad, but we were able to have conversations to lean on each other and pull each other out of the grief. And it feels better to know that you got someone on your corner, you know? Um, you know, I I feel like a scab was reopened when Victor died, our cat. Because I didn't think it would. I mean, I knew it would affect me because I know how much Natalie loves him, and I love him too. He was my first cat, and the sadness that I felt, it like plunged me into the sadness I felt when my dad left. When my dad died. And it just brought back everything to the front of my thoughts. And it was just like, death is shitty. Pardon my language. Death is ugh. But it's one of those things we all have to deal with. It's the one guaranteed thing. That, and yeah, I don't even want to say taxes anymore because I feel like I don't want to get political. But yeah. Sorry. Grief is something that needs to be faced head on. And whether that's through therapy, whether that's through talking to friends, whether it's through meditation. Meditation has been a big thing for me in helping me through anything. Recentering myself and calming myself down. Meditation is beautiful because it's helped with my anxiety, and stress, and fortunately, a lot of people have gone through it, so to say. So a lot of people, there's a lot of books, there's a lot of literature on it to help you get through grief. And so I implore anyone that's going through grief right now, especially this time of year, or that it comes around cyclically every every time of year, this time of year, a part of me is just so, I feel the weight. But then I think of all the good times and grateful for my family, being able to connect with them during these times, and lean on each other, um, and help each other getting through grief. So yeah, yeah, that's really all I got on grief. Just kind of wanted to touch on it. I literally I meant to put this episode out like 2 weeks ago, but it like grabbed me and just made me. I didn't feel like doing it. If I'm honest, I just was like, but it came to me so strong that I felt that I needed to, because I know that I'm not the only one going through it, and hopefully this helps anyone watching take the steps towards getting through their grief. Like I said, personally, I'm going to be going to therapy, and I'm grateful for my family and friends and being able to lean on them. I'm grateful for my music, being able to perform. That helps me so much because I emote and I'm able to take my feelings and stuff it in a song, give the performance that I want. But yeah, don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help, because grief is dark and heavy, and it could pull you. And there's also beauty in it, though, because there's balance. There's light and darkness in everything, I believe. Um, so yeah, I hope you find the peace that you're seeking. I want to thank you for spending a few minutes with me. I promise I'm going to get back on a better schedule, back into the schedule of Tuesdays. I just wasn't rocking it. Just grief this time of year just crushes me, if I'm honest. But I've been able to, take that energy. For me, it's all about reallocation of energy with anything. So I've been working on the merch store, which has been really fun. It's been scratching a creative itch in me. And yeah, make sure you check it out. Timber Talk Time merch. Got links everywhere. And yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope something beautiful happens to you today and this weekend and this holiday season. Also, make sure you check out my song Happy Holidays. Don't be afraid to let it be a part of your holidays. And thanks for tuning in. Until next week, take care. Be safe.